There are so many things to see within ourselves and learn in a time like this. It's hard to even know where to start. Like, for example, aren't you seeing how there are so many things that you took for granted? Didn't we all take so much for granted? Just the ability to walk outside, to not have to wear a mask, to stand or sit next to people, or just call up or visit with a friend that we see all the time. Even going to visit family members who live close by. I mean, there are so many things that we've taken for granted in normal times that now we see that, oh my goodness, it's difficult to live without these things. Even just going out for fresh air or taking a walk, and some of us are still taking walks and going out for fresh air, but to not have to be so cautious about people being near you and things like that when you do so. So it seems that if we take a look at it, if now that we don't have some of these simple things that we took for granted, now we want them. And then when we finally get them, then we end up forgetting after a while and taking them for granted. And this is the case with just about everything that we've ever received in our entire life, or everything even that we've accomplished in our entire life. And I think this is very internally destructive behavior that we have as human beings in today's society, right? I mean, even when we're a kid, we start off wanting so many things, just like wanting to walk. And then finally we can walk, and then it just becomes normal to walk. And then we want to grow up even further and be able to drive, right? And then finally we can drive, and then it's just normal to drive. And this just continues and continues. How about with school? How about with school and wanting to get to, let's say, primary school, and then wanting to be finally achieving something in school, maybe winning in some club or getting an opportunity to finally do your first public speaking, and then that stuff is over, and then you can just do it and it's normal. Or when you wanted to finally get to high school, or finally to university, or finally to graduate university, or get whatever certificate in your trade, and then you finally do. And then there you are again, there we are again, just it being normal. How many of you out there are professionals, or were really hoping to get a particular job and finally get a paycheck in some cases, and then now here you are with the job and got the paycheck, and then it just becomes normal. Now we want to buy lots of stuff with the paycheck, a better house, more things, nicer car, and it just absolutely never ends. And it starts off with very, very simple things, and then it gets more and more complicated now when we take a bite of food and think, oh, this isn't salty enough, and we want salt. Or something a little bit more tasty or more healthy, etc. So you see, we have something inside of us, and it's called craving or desire. And this craving or desire inside us inherently causes us to suffer. In fact, it is suffering itself. We just don't see it when our needs are easily met. We just think that things are fine, and then we crave and want something else. And when we crave and want that something else, we think if we get it, we don't suffer. And if we don't get it, we do suffer. And that's where we are now, suffering because we're not getting what we want, sitting around in isolation. But the problem, the real problem, the root of the matter, is just simply human desire and human wanting. So if you can sit here and absolutely have no desire, have all the craving gone, then it's perfectly peaceful. And there is a way through mindfulness where when craving arises or strong desires arise, actually even small desires too, that the craving disappears when it's met by the mindfulness. And then, well, do we then just not want anything and not do anything? Not at all. Our lives are enriched because we're not enslaved by craving after craving for different things and wanting this and wanting that. Life is a lot more peaceful, and then we can still do what we will, and we'll find that we do instead what is more appropriate to do, what is right action, what is a good thing to do, productive thing to do, helpful thing to do, healthy thing to do, healthy thing to say, productive thing to say, rather than just be falling slave to all our wants and cravings. So, in this time of isolation, let's have a look and notice how many times that craving and wanting come up, and see that the problem isn't that we're not getting what we want, but just the wanting itself.